sounds so much better with reverb, doesn't it? And that's just one of the many effects that you can use when you have made your acoustic violin into an electric violin. But before we go any further, I would like to address the hidden elephant in the room of electric violins. And that is the fact that violin is a high-pitched instrument. And when you amplify it, it amplifies more of the same. So there's certain things that you have to do so that you don't scare the bats away. That's how bad it can be, literally. So what do you do to tame that higher pitched part of the violin down? The first thing is you want a quality pickup. So let's talk about pickups for a minute. There are different types of pickups that you can use to make an acoustic violin electric, most of which will clip onto the bridge and pick the sound up that is vibrating through the bridge, send it through this jack into your pedal board and ultimately into your amplifier. Those type that clip onto the bridge though, you have to be careful where you place them. If you place them in certain areas, you may pick up more of one string and not enough of the other. So it takes a little patience and perseverance, but those are good pickups. But much better is when the pickup is built directly into the bridge, which will mean you will have to replace your bridge. Same thing, but it's built in instead of clips on. There's other types as well. Now, if you want the most natural sound, you get the type that mounts on the side here where your jack is and has a little microphone that goes into the F-holes. Now with that particular pickup, you are going to get the exact sound of the violin with all its warmth. The only problem with that is you don't want to use that with effects, because what ends up happening is it picks up everything in the air. So any kind of deviation or echo of that sound that you created with your effect is going to get amplified and it's going to get distorted, and that effect won't sound good anymore. So that's not the type to use for that. If you're going to get that type, you're probably just going to play maybe classical music or some form that does not require effects, and you just want to have an amplified violin. So there are other types of pickups for acoustic violins to make them electric. I've seen one that actually had a rubber strap that went all the way around it, and it picked up the sound and transmitted it through the jack and into your speaker. I don't know much about that. If anyone has experience with it, please leave it in the comments. I'd like to hear their experience with that. So that's the first thing to dampen that higher pitch of a violin. What else can you do? Next thing is, on your amplifier, I would turn the treble down to about 1/4. I'd turn the bass up to about 3/4, and I would keep the mid-range right about in the middle. And then you have to be careful on what type of amplifier you use. If you use a solid state amp, those are going to sound shrill and harsh with a violin, even with those EQ settings that I just mentioned. So it's best to use an old-fashioned tube amp, something with a good, probably 12-inch speaker in it, so you would capture all those deeper and warmer notes of a violin. Now, to truly get the best use of effects, you would probably want to use a solid body, like some of these. But believe it or not, you can do a lot of different effects on these. I'm going to demonstrate a couple more right now. So that was actually a combination of effects using chorus, reverb, and phaser. So in order to do that, you can have multiple different pedals connected to each other, or you can have a multi-effects pedal like I use, which actually makes it a little more simple. We will talk more on this in future episodes when we review different pedals and pedal boards. And yes, you can even do distortion on this violin, although that does tend to sound a little bit better on a solid body, and that would be your next step. If you decided to take the electric violin to the next level, you would buy a solid body, and then you can take advantage of almost every effect on this pedal board, just like an electric guitar could. But here's a little distortion on an acoustic electric. And there you have it. You've opened up a whole new avenue of creativity by making your violin electric. So if you enjoyed this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned for further videos about everything violin. with emphasis on the unusual.